A federal appeals court provided a win for free speech, deciding that Washington, D.C. officials selectively enforced rules to arrest pro-life activists during the BLM protests back in 2020. Here to tell us the story is a pro-life advocate who was arrested for writing Black Preborn Lives Matter outside of Planned Parenthood in Northeast D.C. in 2020. Warner DePriest, an attorney, the vice president of Appellate Advocacy and Attorney Alliance Defending Freedom, John Bursch. Warner, give me the story. Explain it to us as you do your friends.
Yes, it was August 1st, 2020. Students for Life of America and Frederick Douglass Foundation were going to paint Black Preborn Lives Matter in the street outside the D.C. Planned Parenthood Mega Center. We were told we could not do that. So I and a student tried to sidewalk chalk. I was threatened with arrested, thrown into a paddy wagon, taken to jail, thrown into a jail cell where I was sitting for an hour, and we went right back to the Planned Parenthood. I should also note that there were six police cars waiting for us when we got there that morning.
So, John, tell us about, you see the dichotomy here with the Black Lives Matter and what they did. And Warner here, he just wrote in chalk and he was arrested. What was he actually charged with? And do you find that this is completely hypocritical, considering that not only did the BLM protesters not get arrested, a lot of them ended up, it's right here in New York, they ended up winning money for being unjustly arrested, the ones that were violent?
It wasn't just hypocritical. It was discrimination based on viewpoint and speech, which is something that just can never happen. What the law was that they were accused of breaking was one that prohibited any graffitiing or other painting or a defacing of public buildings or the street. And this is an ordinance that the District of Columbia has had for a long time. When it came to the Black Lives Matter protests, however, they allowed thousands of people to march through the streets, to paint things everywhere. There were markings all over the city, and they didn't do anything about that. In fact, the mayor kind of cheered it on and at some points joined in the protests. Well, then when Students for Life and Frederick Douglass Foundation come along, it's just this very small group, and all they're doing is just chalking one additional word, Black, Unborn, or Preborn Lives Matter, on the sidewalk. And then the police there treated it like it was a federal offense. As Warner was just saying, there were 6 cop cars that converged on the scene, and then arrests were made. And the only explanation for that is because the city liked and wanted to promote the Black Lives Matter speech, but it disliked and wanted to censor the speech from the pro-life groups.
Yeah, and we know now there's a BLM Boulevard or whatever it's called right there next to Lafayette Park, and it's written right on the street itself. So, John, what does this mean? Where does this go, if anywhere?
Well, it's a great victory for free speech, and not just for pro-life advocates, but for everyone, because when the courts uphold the rule of law and say that the government cannot discriminate based on your point of view, the viewpoint of your speech, then that protects everybody, no matter whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, conservative or liberal. We're all entitled to that protection, not to be discriminated against based on our speech. The federal district court judge in this case threw it out, and he said that the speech wasn't comparable because whereas the Black Lives Matter protests involved lots of people and it was spontaneous, the pro-life speakers were a small group and they had asked for permission ahead of time. And so somehow that gave the government the power to discriminate against the pro-life speakers. The DC Circuit just rejected that out of hand and said that the government cannot pick and choose winners and losers when it comes to speech in public forums. And having opened up the street to paint Black Lives Matter in large letters, then certainly they had to allow the pro-life individuals to chalk on the sidewalk. And this is a ruling that we can take to other parts of the country to vindicate those who are discriminated against because of their speech views.
All right. John Bursch, Warner DePriest, thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. We appreciate it.